Hey everyone, I'm Tim Ashe. I'm a state senator from Chittenden County, and I want to say that I acknowledge that the help of many of you is the reason I got there. And I want to thank Susan and Sandy and also David, who is either not here yet or is here in the back somewhere, for the work on the House side. The Senate side is its own beast, which I'll talk about in a minute. But before I start, I want to acknowledge that the mayor of Burlington, Bob Kiss, a former progressive state rep, is here. If Bob could just wave to everybody. And I'm glad he is here because it's really the first thing I wanted to talk about in terms of things that I view as real priorities in the legislative session that's upcoming. Touches home on one of the reasons Bob's probably been getting a little less sleep in the last couple of weeks. Some of you may have known that Burlington Telecom is a municipally owned telecom provider in Burlington, which provides cable, internet, and phone services. It's got 4,500 subscribers, so it's doing pretty well. And over the last few weeks, there's been some controversy, which you've probably seen in the Free Press or other newspapers and on the radio. And what I'm here to tell you, on behalf of all the happy customers of Burlington Telecom and all the people with sanity and reason in the city of Burlington, is that there is no scandal, there is no controversy, and there is no poor health of our municipally owned telecom service. Burlington Telecom is off to a very good start. I was on the Burlington City Council for 4.5 years, where members of all three political parties in Burlington showed their very strong and consistent support for a very important reason. It's because the for-profit corporations that own telecom throughout the state were delivering a crappy product for high prices. And now we have a great product at lower prices. So the experience of the Burlington Telecom customer has been a very, very positive one. And that's not just for residential users like me. I'm just doing internet and using the phone and things like that. It has been an important economic engine for the city of Burlington. There are very significant tax-generating businesses in the city of Burlington who are so thankful that we have delivered them state-of-the-art technology so that they can continue to stay in Burlington, in Vermont, in fact. And it is, I think, a testament to Burlington Telecom that we have some major financial services, businesses, and others. And it's a reason why communities throughout the state are now looking at this. But I want to talk a little bit about the source of the controversy and talk, and this is where it gets to my role in the Senate, and something I hope we spend some time thinking about this coming year. It is almost always true that behind really nasty, negative, and counterproductive behavior, there's some kind of creepy shadow person who is lurking behind like a curtain, who is out to undermine things, but he or she will never be the public face of it, and no one will ever even know who they are. Well, the good news is that most recently, one person who has joined the bandwagon to try and sabotage Burlington Telecom is someone who initially was a supporter, and that is the Commissioner of the Department of Public Service, David OBrien. Now, David OBrien has a lot of responsibility as essentially the enforcement engine for utility providers throughout the state, which includes Burlington Telecom. And I think I just want to say very quickly that what is most distressing is that someone who is at the commissioner level of a Vermont state agency, when they start proclaiming things publicly about the health of one of the utilities they regulate, about the compliance behavior of one of the utilities they regulate, at a minimum, they should talk to the people who work for them and find out what is actually going on. What we heard from the commissioner was that Burlington Telecom was out in the wilderness doing all sorts of things, and the regulators had no idea what was going on. There is a very well documented narrative of his lawyers and his department working very closely with the city to work on smoothing out some of the certificate of public good issues that had arisen. Had either he had a good working relationship with his own staff, which apparently is not the case, or if he had cared to ask them what was going on, perhaps he wouldn't have been fanning some of the flames of Burlington Telecom. Why is this important? Most of you who do not live in Burlington know that you're paying very high prices and generally receiving what is really not internet or phone or cable services that are really dignified for this day and age. There are communities throughout the state, whether it's Rutland or in the Windsor County area, who are exploring telecom systems similar to Burlington Telecom. To me, when you have the Commissioner of Public Service out there trying to undermine and demean what is becoming a real success story in Burlington, it is a disservice to all of those other people. In the Senate and in the House this coming year, I think there will be a reckoning with the fact that several years ago, the legislature said that by 2010, everyone across the state would have broadband access and cell phone coverage. Well, all right, it's November of 2009. Have any of you seen any crews working on the side of your roads in your towns?
No.
You know, I mean, I couldn't even, 10 miles from where we're standing today, I was trying to call my girlfriend today. I couldn't do it. You know, we're not exactly making the progress that the legislature or the governor had intended. Part of this may be a result of the fact that the governor's administration had been working with one particular provider of telecom services to be the solution to deliver broadband and cell phone coverage. And that firm is Fairpoint. So the sad thing is that we really can't let Fairpoint fold in a dramatic fashion because many people still rely on their inadequate services to at least have some connection to the outside world when you're at your house. But it is important, though, that in the context of what you're reading about and seeing about Burlington Telecom, you appreciate that it is a great value to the taxpayers, it has been a great investment, and it is exactly where we should be moving as a state and really encouraging a lot of local experimentation and really exciting activity. I think the economic future, I know that Mr. Hogan was talking about you know, universal health care being an important economic driver as well as a health consideration. I think that really state-of-the-art telecom system is exactly the same. Particularly in Barrie.
In this building. Don't even try.
You got that? Don't plug into any jacks. You won't get the internet in this building. I want to quickly touch on something that Susan also referred to, which is the issues facing working families throughout the state and how the legislature has been handling that. I think the Unemployment Trust Fund, which is slowly dwindling to zero, is an illustrative case of where conventional wisdom really becomes a powerful force. Pretty much across the board what we're hearing different things about how much employers should be asked to contribute in excess of what they are today. But almost across the board we're hearing that workers should either get a freeze of unemployment benefits or a cut. For thousands of people, this has really meaningful impact on their weekly lives, particularly those who have just been let go or fired or whatever. You know, the $20 cut that some people in the legislature think might be a modest compromise becomes a tremendous difference in terms of the ability to meet an electric bill, to pay for kids' clothes, going to school, things like that. I think that the auditor of the state of Vermont, Tom Salmon, really reflected his incompetence when he suggested that the benefits to unemployed workers in Vermont be cut by about 50%. He did this publicly, which is, I guess, to his credit, except I think it really does highlight the incompetence. It is a strategy of essentially bailing out the state of Vermont on the backs of the people who are already going through tremendous hardship for savings that are so modest that it really is hard to justify on a moral level. I've said before, and I know that it's impolitic of a member of the Vermont Senate to perhaps speak so bluntly, but I think that our current auditor's incompetence is so gross that I hope he is unelected as swiftly as possible. And that's not just because Martha Abbott wants some.